All right, guys, give you a little teaser what I'm working on. These are two 5th gen center consoles. This one's from TRX, that's from a Ram 3500. So I made a video a while back, probably about a year ago now, making a 3rd gen, well, 5th gen cluster working in a 3rd gen. But I got my hands on a complete 2021 cab, which is what this came out of. And my goal now is I'm just going to swap the whole interior. So if that works, I'll have a 5th gen interior running in a 3rd gen. So what I did is I'm expecting, as everyone else is, that the 2025 Rams, 25, 3500, 6.7s, which still aren't released surprisingly, are going to have an 8 HP. So this is a TRX. My initial plan was I was just going to gut the inside of this and put it into here, but this is all injection molded, so you can't take the belly pan out, and then they plastic weld all this. So unless you want to break it apart and re-weld it, which I don't want to do, it's a pain in the ass. And I wanted to do that because this is red and the trim on the 21 cab is like black and silver, which is also why I swapped out the lids, because this has the TRX lid. What else? Oh, so yeah, so these are actually pretty easy. If you're ever curious about pulling these off, it just bolts in the back and comes out, not a big deal. But where did I put it? So what I wanted, so this is the TRX. This is the 3500. The 3500 originally had the rear heated seats. The TRX didn't. So what I did is I just pulled the buttons out, brought them over to the TRX. I did that just because of the trim, to keep the trim the same. I didn't want to rip it all apart. And the bottom is a little cleaner on the TRX center console. So yeah, so that's here. And you know, it's funny, a lot of these things, when you rip them apart, they got connectors and stuff you don't use. But on the TRX, I guess they cheaped out and they didn't add the push button connectors for the rear heated seats. So that's a pain in the butt. And then I was looking online into wiring diagrams. Even though this is the same connector as this guy, right? The TRX is actually pinned differently than the diesels. So what I decided to do is I'm going to yank these out. So the harnesses lay out exactly the same, except this one's going to have my two push buttons, and this is wired correctly for the cab. So yeah. So this goes to the 8 HP TRX shifter, and another difference is the inverter. So the inverter is plugged in here, where on the 25, 3500, 6.7s, the inverter connector's here. And what that means, I think that's the connector. What that means is when this is all, you know, wrapped up, it sticks out like right here, right? So you push it in, it sticks out right here. Whereas on this one, it needs to come through and connect all the way in the back. So same thing. So I want to cut this out, and then what's going to happen is I'm just going to unloom it, same splice, but I want to cut this guy and just weld, sonic weld it onto here, so that'll wrap around where it needs to go back here. And then also, to my surprise, I figured, you know, maybe the wireless chargers or something to be on the CAN bus. They're not. So on the 25, 3500s, there is no CAN data. So still not that big of a deal. Pull all the loom off, de-pin it, and then I'll recycle these wires. And then the power and ground, I'll just weld somewhere back in here, and it should work. And then, yeah, if this, if Ram does come out with an 8 HP behind a 6.7s, I plan on converting it, the whole dash in my 3rd gen to a 5th gen, and then I'll use the TRX shifter to do it. So, should be pretty cool.